Guys, so we are the Art of Whiskey. This is the Whiskey Blendery. We will be collabing, working together, and bringing you whiskey info. If you go to Instagram, follow the Whiskey Blendery. We've got the best whiskey. That's what we're trying to find. And look, we found the best whiskey. We're sport. We're out here like 3 times a week. It's far. I was way on the other side of town. I was like, where you going? I get out to Old Point real quick, man. I see it a little bit. Now, Tim's going to break down as he lended Q and I some bottles. He said, guys, don't go spend money. I got plenty of bottles.
Yeah, you were buying a bunch of bottles.
They were terrible.
And then you were trying to blend with them. And then you're like, hey, I can't make anything good with it. And it's like, well, I got plenty of bad bottles I can give you. Not saying that these are bad. But I've got plenty of bottles that I'm never going to drink. So let me supply you with however many bottles you need.
Hey, that's what friends are for, man. We learn, like, you go, what kind of friends you got to give you bottles? Now, mind you, all this is leverageable. And Tim's going to walk us through why you purchased these 3. So we've got Nulu.
Yeah. So
is this an African whiskey? The Nulu tribe?
Yeah. No. They're out of Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay.
Actually, Andy can speak a lot to them, but Nulu's a spot is considered an area, new.
Yeah, it's a neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's a neighborhood in Louisville, and they have a tasting room, distillery, production facility on either side of Baxter Avenue, and
so
just outside of downtown Louisville.
Chase is one of our buddies.
Yeah.
But yeah, we went to support him when he first opened up, and then he got some distribution, and now he's everywhere. But yeah, they were sourcing MGP and had some good stuff. So I think I picked that up at like a Kroger or something.
Yeah, Chris's picks is Kroger. Chris, yeah.
So hold on. But they don't sell liquor like this in Kroger in Texas.
Right. The laws are different in Texas. So the grocery stores you can't. So
in Texas.
Yeah, in Texas.
No hard
you go to
liquor.
Missouri, you go to Kentucky. Yeah,
anything over 40 proof is not allowed.
They got liquor laws.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. So
What
this is one I used to buy as well.
Yeah, that was like
As a port wine.
That was one of the first bottles I ever bought, I think. So Angel's Envy, port.
One of the
finished.
first?
Yeah, one of the first.
You gave
bottles.
us like the OG original. This is what started all of this.
Yeah, and so you can see Lincoln Henderson, and Wes Henderson was a judge for our Battle of the
Yeah.
Blends
That's
last
crazy.
year. So yeah, and he's in the Bourbon Hall of Fame. So yeah, it's
Is the Angel Envy typically port wine finished?
correct. Yep.
Nice.
Port wine, and then their rye whiskey is rum barrel finished.
Nice.
So this will be a little sweeter.
Gives a little
So
bit
if I told you to grab 3 random ones, which I didn't, you definitely grabbed 3 random bottles. Very different. So
And then we got the last one here.
So
Restoration Rye.
That's like
so
a
that-
word puzzle.
Beautiful bottle, beautiful presentation.
I
So what does
agree.
that say? So released in 2020. Yeah, so that was their first release of their own distillate, I believe, at Castle and Key. And so I bought that bottle. I think their most recent stuff is a lot better than that, but I didn't.
for the purpose of today, right?
Yeah, I guess you guys grabbed some random stuff.
We have a bourbon.
so if
we got a rye, and we got a port finished as well.
Yeah,
Bourbon. So
yeah.
it's gonna.
Who knows? So
Now, the trick to blending these things, Tim's story originated from 50/50 blends. We were trying to get it right. We got it completely wrong. It was awful. And maybe our palate's changed so much because we've been in the whiskey blender and just everything's good. So what's the trick to blending and mastering, adding value to a bottle that's mediocre?
it's the trick is trying multiple things. So that's why we started making worksheets that force people to make blends, because you think, okay, hey, here's a bourbon, and I'm guessing it's a 21% rye, probably a 4-year 21% rye, and then that's MGP, so I'm really familiar with that. These others aren't MGP; they're two different distilleries, and one's port finished. So now we're taking three distilleries, one being port finished, and trying to make a blend. So this one would actually be fairly tough to make a blend on, but you've got a rye, you've got a bourbon, and then another rye that's finished. So
And you just know that off of the information on the bottles, huh? It's like reading ingredients. You go, I can't make that with this food.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you know what? This would be like liquor Chopped. You ever seen the show Chopped?
No.
The chefs, you open up a basket, and then you turn around, and you literally get to put some crazy meal together with the best chefs in the world judging. you.
Okay. And then you have a time limit to.
Oh, of course. You got three courses.
It's
so
just
you
like
go,
Battle of the Blends.
Oh, and stay tuned for that, people. I will be here shooting that. But Battle of the Blends is another thing. So, where would you start in this process with all these random? We got three random situations.
Yeah, I would try them all.
Okay.
And then just knowing what it is, this will probably be my base because it's a 21% rye bourbon that I'm familiar with. That being a rye and that being a younger rye, that will either be a very small component, like 10% maybe of the blend, if I'm trying to use all three.
And that's you're mixing these. And this is the bourbon and the rye together. You would build off the bourbon.
Yeah, that would be my base. The rye I would add probably just a little bit, like maybe 10%.
So
you're pouring all three of them right now?
pouring all three. So
Okay.
what he said, the first thing we're gonna do. So you guys might have missed. Like he broke down some mad knowledge right now. So we have 3 different styles, and he chose the bourbon to be the base of everything. So why did you choose bourbon as the base, and this guy to be like the potential outlier?
Yeah, this one most likely plays well with others. So it's a very common mash bill. I mean, a ton of stuff that you see on the shelf is 21% rye bourbon from MGP. So knowing that is likely going to be a base, and knowing that this one's probably going to be a little hot and spicy and young, and knowing that this one's going to be a little easier to drink and a little sweeter, I would make this my base on my personal preference. Some people might say, hey, let's put 80% of the Angel's Envy.
Yeah.
And then usually, so like when we do blends and have groups come in, we'll have 3 unmarked barrels lined up. That doesn't mean that the best whiskey is including all 3 barrels. So I usually go into something like this and I say, hey, I want to make the best whiskey I can. It doesn't have to have all 3 of the barrels in it, or all 3 of these bottles in it, and then just start tweaking things and go from there. So it's like I think on our worksheet we say, okay, well, pick the top 2 that you like. So which 2 do you like the best? Start with a 50-50 blend, then do a weighted blend to where it's 2 parts to 1 part of your favorite. Now swap them, and now add some of this component. So it kind of forces you to get sample data. And then it also kind of forces you to do things that you normally wouldn't do intentionally. So, and that's why when we do blends, we kind of line them up to where you can't tell what they are.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't want people to be influenced by, hey, this is a bourbon, or this is a rye, or this one's the oldest. So it's all gonna be by taste.
Interesting, man.
Let's go in it. Let's see what it's like. Let's taste this base and see if
you
we're
guys
here.
have seen us butcher this thing a little bit. And I tell you, man, it's nothing like having a good teacher.
So what we're gonna taste each one. That's what he said the first thing, and this is the one that he recommended. The bourbon.
And that's likely cast strength, and that's
Yeah.
So
Cast something.
does it?
Yeah, barrel 18, man. This thing was built in.
So Nulu does have some good barrels. I remember this one not being my favorite barrel pick. So you guys are familiar with single barrels. So every barrel is different.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean that's not a representation of the brand. That's a representation of Chris, whoever Chris is, if you don't like it. But hey, it's subjective, right? So
all
the
it
barrel
is.
you pick, Chris probably hates. So
Hey,
This is interesting, though. You can actually taste a little bit of vanilla in this thing.
did you put that in all 3 of these?
Yes, this is what everything in. I got like
It's
straight
not-
up vanilla.
Yeah, the nose is nice. And that
Yeah.
I don't know how old that is. That's this bottle was
It was filled in 15,
2020.
Yeah.
So
4 years
early
ago.
2020. Oh, okay. It does
yeah.
say the age. So
Filled in
about
15.
5 years.
It's a 5-year-old whiskey.
116 proof. So I like the nose on it.
I mean, it's a pretty. It gives you kind of Scotch starts, and then it turns back into a bourbon at the end. I thought that was actually really cool. I don't think Trevor's impressed. All right, so let's go to the left then. So we'll go to the left and we'll come back
Man,
in.
it really builds up like on the finish. Like now it's like
agree.
real hot. Like
I can still
Yeah.
taste it.
Too hot for me.
So we're gonna try since
it's got better over age.
I think that I initially I thought it was gonna be terrible, and then it got much more palatable towards the end, and it had a little bit of a friend
I
to
can
it.
be swayed. I'm the swing voter. I go either way. I don't.
All right, so
whiskey, so
and
we're
I could-
drinking. You know, life
yeah,
is
and
good.
I could bring out some Nulu that would, you guys would be like, man, this shit is amazing. So
Blow your
every
mind.
barrel's different.
Yeah, look, you know
but
what's
they're
crazy?
doing-
It's
they're
like if
doing
you get a bad bottle of Old Forester. What's that turkey thing that we had that
Wild
one time?
turkey?
Wild turkey was
I
awful.
put some good turkey in
No,
the
not
box.
here, not here.
I got-
but-
yeah, I got
but
some
I'm
turkey.
talking about the other turkey we got. That thing, nothing survives at my house. Nothing.
That's
That thing
why I
was
keep
there.
getting it home.
That thing was like 4 months old,
I
bro.
have it down.
Until it was a
Yeah.
man of desperation.
That was a Diet Coke night.
It wasn't
So-
me. I didn't drink it.
In the box of stuff that I gave you a wild turkey rare breed.
That's a big
That-
boy bottle.
It's a great whiskey, and it's a great whiskey, and I've played with that, and you can blend with that. So I think you'll like that, and you'll want to make that your base.
Well, again, a lot of this stuff we're just learning. You know, we're learning what to taste for because we didn't even know that whiskey had flavors like they have here at the Blendery. I mean, you know, we taste orange, we taste the beach, I taste the pineapple. He had a coconut blend. I mean, you look up and the golden grams or grains. My back keeps saying golden grams. It tastes like golden grams.
and that's all from the wood of the barrel. So
Yeah.
like the orange one that we were just trying, like that is a single barrel, just like the one we tried here. Like it's like straight out of the barrel at cast strength, and it tastes like orange because of
orange.
because of a rare barrel that just tastes like
When I say
tastes like
unbelievable,
orange.
it's truly unbelievable because, you know, we just been drinking whiskey our whole life, never drinking whiskey. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, this makes sense now. And that one, I enjoyed that one a little bit more.
Look at that, I got the
a little
whiskey
bit better.
pose too. 1 foot crossed. I've been hanging. When you taste the whiskey,
When you said hand on your hip, I noticed my hand on my hip.
when you're really tasting, you put and if you get the 3-4 fingers in the pocket, it's a situation. And this is actually interesting, man, because it's you think port, you think sweet. I didn't
got
get
bitter, bro.
sweet,
It's
but I
bitter.
got like it tastes like
Very light. Yeah, it's very
like it's got that corky finish towards the end where it's like very dry.
yeah. Yeah, that
Actually-
one's easy to drink.
I feel like these
So
two might work together.
you put this one in here, right?
Yeah, I wanted to
Yep.
go to the left since
Yep.
he wasn't feeling the right. I actually started off not liking it and I enjoyed it, but this came back a little sweeter for me. So
Because the amount of heat on this one, I would almost say the Angel's Envy might make
Right.
a better base now.
I agree, man. It's crazy.
After trying them, but all the things that I say and everything that where my mind is going, when you blend it, it's a different story.
Absolutely.
Like I could be totally wrong on that.
I tried to blend this at home with just a base bourbon, and it was terrible. It was the sweet mash. The sweet mash. I put that with this, and it didn't work out at all. And it's really interesting because on their own, the sweet mash, I'm like, I gotta buy this bottle for myself.
Which one was that? Was that Michter's or?
No, it was the sweet mash had a yellow label with a gold top. I can't think of the name of it, but it was fantastic. And put that with this, it's very interesting. So, kind of going in the middle. This is our solo rye of the group.
Tim, what is the things that people who are trying to get into whiskey and learn about it, drink, what are the things they should be looking for when they're looking for a good whiskey?
Like when they're looking to buy barrels and
Not
and
barrels,
find-
not the business. The business, I feel like that's a whole different episode. We never gonna, guys. We'll get
that's
to
a
the
series.
business in maybe 2 or 3 years with you guys. Right now, we're just talking about the art of drinking whiskey and buying a good bottle.
Oh yeah, so like if you go to a liquor store, how do you
Yeah.
decide which bottle you
Yeah.
want? So that's a tough one because most of the bottles on the shelf you've never tried before.
Ever.
So now you're walking up and you're looking at what? You're looking at price point and you're looking at marketing, so how the bottle looks. Does it look nice? Does it look cheap? Does it have great packaging like this? And then you're making your decision, right? Or sometimes they'll put the little tag on like how many points, or this sales rep chooses this bottle or whatever. But yeah, you're going off of nothing. So that's part of the reason why I have so many bottles that are just in the okay range, that I don't think of an experience that it's like, man, I'm going out and I'm doing this thing. Let me grab this mediocre bottle. I'm always either grabbing a really like nice high-end rare bottle that I want to share with somebody, or I'm grabbing something that's just really good whiskey that I can find again and I can buy again, and it's reasonably priced. And
That's huge, though, to talk about the sharing component. Because one of the things I've learned, people, and I come from a black household, we don't share cups and none of that stuff. And my mama didn't drink after me. But, here, everybody just kind of shares whiskey. Say, man, this is different.
and
This is
not just whiskey, people share like crazy, like hard to get bottles.
Impossible. So,
Yep.
so what is the share component? When you go in and you see a bottle, you say, "Man, I'd love to share this with." What's the first friend that comes to mind?
Yeah, well, you think of somebody that would appreciate the whiskey. So there's a lot of things that I'll try, and then somebody's name pops into my head because I know they like certain things. Or like when we were trying barrels last week, I tried something. I'm like, Dale, that's a member here, is gonna love this rye.
I think we met Dale.
I think you did. Yeah,
He's a nice guy.
yeah, a great guy. But it's like names come into my head because I know what they like and I know what they appreciate. So when I appreciate something and I know somebody else that does, then I don't care what the bottle costs. I don't care whatever it is. I want them to experience it, and I want to be around to get their reaction to it. So.
I was very
Oh, wow.
surprised on this thing. This thing is.
Yeah, that was
this
the
thing-
best
Wow, that opens up.
This is a banger on its own.
That's the best one.
I did not say that when I purchased that bottle. So
It's crazy though. Like I've had a lot of those instances where I'll have a bottle that I'm like, this was way too hot. Come back when it's been opened up a month later, and it's like a completely different beast. This is really good.
Yeah.
man, it has this like a black pepper component.
Yeah, towards the end, like the Old Pepper. You know that one? It's a Kentucky distillery. The Old Pepper. It has that peppercorn finish as well. Like just like it's like you bite in a peppercorn and you forget, and you're like, there it is. That's how that bad boy finishes. It's really good.
It's better than I remember, but it's the finish. The finish is not there for me.
Sure, that middle point and
Yeah,
then
well,
kinda,
and that comes with age.
sure. This guy is
Yeah,
8
so,
years.
so I would imagine that would be kind of tough to blend with, but
Well, out of what we've got this bourbon that kind of you were not into. I actually want you to start with it because that's one that you don't like.
Yeah.
And we all kind of agreed that the port was an easy drink, but it wasn't anything very special in terms of like depth of flavor.
Yeah.
And this guy seems like it's interesting alone. So how about Trevor? Why don't you blend with this being a base, and then why don't Tim you blend with the one in the middle, and I'll take the one on the right, and then we
so
can
give me the hardest one.
Oh, God, absolutely.
Want to make sure you get it right, man.
You take this and you add +1, and we can go 50-50, and then I'll start with this guy, and I'll be +1, and I'll grab only one. So we're only going to add one more to it, and let's see how that works. Can I borrow that when you're done?
Yeah.
Stir that bad boy up. So
Yeah,
which
so-
two did you choose?
So that what
The
he's
two on the outside?
doing now is good. You've seen us do that, right? So that blends it up, that aerates it, so that
I'm interested.
that speeds up the process for
So
sure.
you chose the two on the outside.
Yeah, two on the outside. Then you say, look, that's the port, that's the
Yeah.
angels, and this is the nasty one.
I'm going to try the two. I'm going to try these two. Why don't you
This
try?
now smells like cologne.
what proportions did you do on that?
50-50?
50-50?
2 mil. Do you want to go with these two or these two?
I'm gonna do.
Oh, that's how you
I'm
feel?
Gonna, I'm gonna.
Already, huh? Play around. Do your thing, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. So that one was the most bold, and I'm sure the highest proof. Yeah, by far the highest proof. So
You just got a lot hotter.
I'm curious.
Straight pepper.
I'm actually very curious how
But it ain't the worst thing in
Middle.
the world.
middle of two and one of each goes.
So guys, while they're doing this, let me walk you through what he's processing. You come to the Whiskey Blender if you're in the state of Texas, or if you're out of state, please feel free to stop by, reach out to Tim. As you see, he's got a worksheet here where you get to come in and blend your own bottles. He gets barrels, pull from the barrels, you get to taste the barrels, choose your barrels. You give him basically a flavor profile, and he kind of points you in the right direction. And you and your people get to come in collectively. It could be a birthday, could be a child being born, could be business, which is probably one of the best things you should do in here. Sign some documents and have a good time, but you and your people get to leave with their bottle waxed. And I mean, it's
you
gonna
get to
cost
name
you.
it.
You get to name
and
it.
it's a little more intentional than grabbing like three
Yeah.
random distilleries from a box. Like we pre-vet the barrels ahead of time to
Yeah.
make sure that there are a lot of answers, and it speeds up the process. But it's almost like, okay, I'm trying all of these individually. They're good whiskey individually, but then after about 15 minutes, usually somebody in the group stumbles upon something to where it's like, whoa, and gets excited about it, and then shares it with everybody, and then it's like, wow, this is really good, and then they use the rest of their time trying to make that better.
Yeah.
So, and then that's what they walk away with. So it's a true one-of-a-kind whiskey, and they've got the recipe, and we pull it straight from the barrel that day, so everything's continuing to age, so we can't make it again. So whatever bottles they leave with, that's it. So it's a one-off.
And
fully
whiskey can
customized.
age by the day in a barrel, correct?
It does age by the day.
So you get what he's saying, people? He pulls literally down to the milliliters of what you need to fulfill said order, and the rest stays in that barrel. So that recipe that you concoct here, once it's done, 2 hours later the flavors might change, but definitely by the next day. In the state of Texas, as we get into the summertime especially, whole flavor profile will be good. So what are you guys thinking, man?
On the nose, this is actually really nice. I don't know if you saw what I did.
I didn't see what you did. I feel like I might have a base to work with.
And the base
Which is interesting.
is based from the two mixes.
So I actually took 5 milliliters of the middle one, and I did 2.5 from each one, right? And then now it doesn't taste great. It's not terrible, but it doesn't taste great. And one thing I'm learning watching Tim is if you have something that might be decent and the proof is high, if you put a little bit of water to dilute it, it could open up into something pretty special. So I don't know. I'm curious. Or you just took it down. Just took it down. I was like, what did he make? I want to know how he did
comic relief, people.
Well, he said something like, it's not terrible or something.
Yeah, it wasn't great. It tastes like it's heavy on the pepper. So right at the middle of my tongue is burning still.
So that's something that you need to be conscious of, because that's going to be the majority of your reaction when you're randomly blending things, especially when you're grabbing like random bottles, random distilleries.
Yeah.
The majority of time, it's going to be, this isn't great, or this isn't for me. So don't spend much time on it. Don't spend much time thinking about it. Just shift, do something totally different until it's like, okay, I got something here. Like he said, it's like, oh man, I think I might have a base here.
Yeah.
So you want to keep trying, and then yeah, don't drink it all. Like what he's doing. If he says the same thing, like it's not great, then pour that out, or make an infinity bottle with it. Don't keep drinking with it, because that's going to blow out your palate by the time you find the answer. So
know your limits, people. Know the lines. And as he said,
That's
like
not
literally,
horrible.
you can go over there, grab whatever barrels you want, and he kind of controlled more how the experience is going. In this case, like you said, we grabbed 3 random things and it's like pouring a bunch of Kool-Aid together. I don't know what color that junk gonna be at the end, but it's gonna be sweet as hell.
That was for all of you Kool-Aid mixers. That was pretty incredible, actually, because you get that brown one, but it'd be delicious.
Hey, it don't look good, but it's gonna be sweet as hell.
Switch it up.
I like the nose on it.
Like that was it. 2 drops. Don't down. I 2 drops in that. I was.
So that one's a little better, right?
That's way better.
Okay. So
I make faces, people. I can't control my faces. It's not a thing. But that was good. It was good in comparison. Definitely was what I did. Mine ain't shit.
yeah. So that was
what did you do?
So that was 2 parts of the Angel's Envy and 1 part of the Nulu.
Isn't
That's
that crazy?
interesting.
He done brought Nulu back to life. Gave him a second chance,
Tell
man.
me what you find on this one right here. So this is,
But cut you off soon.
yeah, he's having a great time, which is great.
Oh, you know what?
I've got 1 part with a half part of each and 2 drops of water.
This is proof down a little.
Yeah,
Or-
2 drops.
And this has all 3 barrels.
All 3. I'm not mad about it. It's not bad, right?
Man, that thing takes over, in my opinion.
I got a lot of sweet from the bourbon. And yeah, the spice towards the end, and this kind of dried it out. But the water, actually, I don't know. I feel like that could be something to work with. I think I could probably make something over time. If we all played around with that, I'm sure we could find something that made sense for a drink, not for a bottle.
There you go. We're not going to give you a full blending experience here today. What we wanted to give you some notes and perspective. What I love about what Tim did was almost, I told him, it reminded me of the Pamper Chef thing, where you're like, hey guys, bring everything, but it's way better when you got 20 friends bringing bottles of whiskey. and you guys are blending in. Did you guys ever name when you were at your house with your friends bottles or anything that you guys blended together? You ever come with a name, or did the name thing come later to you? Like, yo, let's start naming these things.
Yeah, it came later. Sometimes when people would bring bottles over, and then the challenge would be, hey, bring a bottle that is just sitting there, that's collecting dust that you probably won't drink. Bring it over. Let's see if we can make it better. And then I would take some of my bottles of mostly MGP, because that's what I was trying to learn about and play with. And then we would try to make something great. And a lot of times they would leave with something that they were excited about. And sometimes a name popped in their head and they would say, all right, man, I'm going to call it this. And it was usually a pretty good name. Yeah. When I was doing it, I was just more from like a data standpoint, like, hey, these 70 bottles that I have they're okay whiskey. They don't get me excited. What can I do to make them more exciting? Yeah. And then finding an answer to even one of them, like even when people are blending here and like you see their face light up because they found an answer, and it's so much fun, and then they created it and nobody else in the world has that.
Nobody. Literally nobody. People, I mean, I've not drank whiskey this way ever in my life, and I can tell you we've tried. You know, I've gone and bought a couple other bottles and it just doesn't taste the same, man. It's awful to say the least. But when you come for your blending experience, what are these things called? This is not just a cup, is it?
No, I mean it's a Canadian mixer or a Canadian Glencairn glass.
And these aren't shot glasses either, right?
No.
Copitas, man.
Copitas.
No, they're not Copitas.
Oh, that's the other ones?
Copitas are the nosing glasses. These are called the Perfect Dram glass. So it's a smaller. So a dram is a small pour. And I like these because they're small and compact, so you can take them anywhere. But some of the mini Glens, like if you, let's see if there was so this is a normal Glencairn whiskey glass that like everybody has these. So this is a smaller version of that, but the nosing area is much larger than like a mini Glen, because they make mini Glens that are just tiny, and then the opening's about half as big, and you can't really nose it. But I like these because you can still nose it, and it's small, and it doesn't shatter when you knock it over. These shatter, and then the Kinsey drams are really nice too. But the glass definitely affects your tasting experience. Usually I like these when I'm drinking something higher proof, like above 130. I like this because it airs out a little bit better. So then now when I'm nosing it, it's not a high concentration of ethanol, like it gets to breathe a little bit. So so I like those for higher cast strength things.
And so whiskey you drink from the nose, correct?
You definitely start the experience from the nose, because then you're starting to taste it through the nosing experience, and too many people just grab it, drink it real quick, and then that's it.
Now the beauty about this is you walked us through all these glasses. I never even heard of these glasses, man. Mm-hmm. That's why we're here, people. When I tell you, now Jamarcus Q, you've heard of these, correct?
Since I've been here.
Well, I mean, I know Jamarcus has worked in the space quite some time, so I can imagine he's won all this stuff. But you go consider, we got the nose glass. We got the sipping glass.
So we should make this a video, and I'm gonna do it. I'm not gonna tell you when, but I'm gonna have the same whiskey in different glasses and get your opinion on it. And you're gonna give me 3 different opinions, and I'm gonna tell you it's gonna be the same whiskey.
It's called psychology. You know, psychology 101 is if crazy. He doesn't, I don't know what's going on. You go, oh, this is not too bad. He's like, gotcha.
So no, there is a little psychology in that, but also it's the glass. So it's more than psychology. It literally tastes different and noses different in different glasses.
Well, think about wine, right? If you have wine,
I don't know anything about wine, so we got to do that too. But go ahead, finish.
Well, if you had anybody that takes wine straight out the bottle and put it in the wine glass, like different than if they aerated it, and then if they have it from the wine glass that is a small, or you see how they have the small champagne flutes or the wine glasses. The reason is because it's a different experience.
So that long glass for champagne is called a flute.
Yep. Correct. Right. So you have
See,
a flute.
I'm just learning all kinds of stuff.
I mean, ups glasses, martini glasses, but the way, and you see even in an old fashioned, them expressing the orange that creates the nose part that allows you to start into what you're doing.
I'm telling you, people, I never knew that there was a skill to drinking. I thought you just pour up. Yeah. Now, what's one thing that you want them to know about the Whiskey Blender as we continue to build out, the page and just the opportunity to be educated and informed. And
Yeah, I think it's intimidating to think like, okay, hey, I'm coming in and or somebody invited me on their blending experience, and man, I don't know much about whiskey, so maybe that's not for me, or maybe I don't like whiskey. But we've had so many people come in that they'll sit on the couch or something and just say, hey, I'm not a whiskey person. And then by the end, they come in and they're so excited and like blending and writing like their worksheets full. And then it seems a little intimidating, but we try to break it down in an easy way to where you're really enjoying the whiskey, you're enjoying the company, and then you're creating something special with the people that you're with.
There you go. And remind you, people, I've been in here and I've shot some good stuff here, and I think what I've enjoyed is the last thing you said, which is the company.
Yeah.
You say that they come in because the company, so it seems difficult, and then people get into it, right? Mm-hmm. So guys,
yeah, you've seen how much fun people have here, and it's like, man, I need to be around these people more often because they're just joyful people.
Look, I'm back, man. I ain't
every day.
I ain't left. I'm like this. I'm trying to find another reason. Look at my homies like, what you say you had? Oh man, I might as well go give me a couple bottles. It's turned into a thing, so we appreciate Tim for educating us and kind of walking us through what a blending experience looks like. We'll do some fun stuff as we speed it up. I love to do the mystery thing, with his guidance and instruction. If you're looking for a customized experience and you are a whiskey lover or a person who's got questions about whiskey and how to get involved and where to begin, I didn't even know I had questions. And when I came in here, oh man.
And now you have more questions.
Man, I'm reading and studying every day like I'm in class because I said, I got a few more questions.
Yeah, you are. You're reading, and then you come here and you tell me what you read, and I was like, hey, that's good, man. You did your homework.
Exactly, people. So stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching. And I got to come with a tagline. The Whiskey Blender, man.
Take care of your drinks.
Take care of your drinks. Take care of your drinks.
If I said that,
This
they
nigga
would
take
lead
care
on
of
to.
your
They were
dog.
like, look, take care of your drink, take care of your dog, take care of your wife, take care of your. It'll turn into a thing, people. But until next time.
Take care of your drinks.